Hi, we're back, everyone, with our first guest, prolific author, Stephen Knapp. And you've written over 20 books on the traditional Vedic philosophies.
That's right, all about India, its different aspects of its culture, how it can be applied in today's world, and things like that. So, keeps me going.
Stephen, what makes you an authority on this subject?
Probably having studied in an ashram, been to India 17 times, and studied all the different Vedic Shastra or texts, ancient texts that have been, or that are available. So just that constant study, that constant work, I've acquired a lot of knowledge that I guess other people don't always have. So,
well, you've got a wealth of information in your books, and this is your latest.
This is my latest one.
Is the Prayers, Mantras, and
Gayatris.
Gayatris. A collection for insights, protection, spiritual growth, and many other blessings. And this is your 21st book.
This is my 20th book.
20th book. And share with us just what's happening in that book.
Well, in this book, I especially take a lot of prayers, mantras, and Gayatris, specifically for various purposes that people want. Whether it's for spiritual enlightenment, or whether it's because mantras can do all kinds of different things, depending on the purpose of it, who the mantra is addressed to, things like that, whether it's to invoke the positive energy for protection, or for the healing energy for healing different ailments of the body, or for enlightenment, because actually that's what mantra means. Mantra is composed of two syllables. Mantra, man means mind, and tra means deliver. So it means to deliver, basically on the essential level, the consciousness from one realm to another, or from the material to the spiritual, or as you say, out of the ordinary and into the extraordinary. So.
Yes. So for people that might not know, what's the difference between prayer, mantra, and Gayatris?
Gayatri basically is a certain meter that's used in composing the mantra for a specific divinity. And a prayer, of course, is maybe like addressing God. A mantra is like not only addressing God, but also invoking the energy of God, because the mantra is usually not just one's expression or prayer, but it's actually considered part of the Shabda Brahma, which is the spiritual vibration, which is eternal. It's a transcendental energy, in other words, or a purely spiritual energy, so that the more we connect with that mantra, then the more we can deliver the mind from whether it's stress, anxiety, or directly connecting it to the Supreme in that way. So that's
the vibration.
Yeah.
It sets up a vibration that then helps the mind.
It helps the mind, helps the atmosphere, can help anybody that's in the room. And there's different ways of using mantras. For example, we can all chant a mantra together or a prayer together, or sometimes people chant on beads, like this is a string of 108 beads, so you can chant 2 rounds, 4 rounds, or for me up to 16 rounds every day of particular mantras, which then energize and invoke the spiritual vibration in the consciousness, so that after training then of that kind of session, which can take anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours, usually on an average, then you're beginning to become more spiritualized. The whole point of it is the mantra then spiritualizes the consciousness. And the more spiritual you become, the more you can perceive that which is spiritual. It connects you into that level. It delivers you into that spiritual dimension.
You mentioned 108 beads. Could you tell us the significance of the 108 number?
108 is an auspicious number. It's considered to be like 108 Upanishads, or Krishna's 108 most confidential devotees, or it's also considered that the the diameter of the sun 108 times is the distance also between the earth and the sun. So there's all these correlations of why 108 is an auspicious number. So they have beads of 100, or strings of 108 beads, so that usually 2 rounds is about 15 minutes.
So that should be doable in modern life.
Yeah, actually, that's right. So then there's a couple different mantras that are this book, my book, has hundreds of mantras, or stotrams. It has the Vishnu Sahasranam, which is the 1,000 names of Vishnu, 1,000 names of Balaram, Gopal, or the 108 names of Ganesh, Shiva, Devi, and many other mantras and stotras that are prayers used in temples and things like that.
To these various deities.
To the various deities, or the spiritual master, or divinities of others, and for different purposes as well. And one mantra, for example, that most people know about is the Om mantra. And
you're wearing this scarf.
This is my mantra scarf, you might say, but this is the Om here in the center, and surrounded by smaller Oms, but then it's also surrounded by the Gayatri mantra. Now the Om mantra is, of course, very simple, and people usually just, to chant it, take a deep breath, and then Om.
So let the breath out on the Om. Wow.
Exactly. And then when you close your lips, then you bring it to a silence. You also meditate on the silence after the mantra, which is part of it. Then this is the Gayatri mantra, both in Roman transliteration and in Sanskrit. This comes from the Rig Veda, actually, which is the earliest book known to man.
The earliest book known to man is called the
Rig Veda.
Rig Veda.
And this is the mantra from that. And this is Om Bur Bhuvahasva Tat Savachur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yo Na Prachodayat.
And that would be used for?
That's usually used in the morning. People chant it maybe 10 times in the morning, at noon, and in the evening. And that is basically, it translates into, Om, once again, that begins the mantra. And then that is a supplication to the sun god, Savitri, and thank him to enliven us with his energy, his brilliance, his effulgence, so that enthuses our meditation. Of course, meditation on what? Meditation then on the supreme reality, or the supreme being, like that. Of course, that is usually given, the Gayatri is usually given through a process of initiation, so that as you get a mantra from a guru, then that mantra is especially powerful when it's already been empowered by receiving it from a guru who's already used it to a perfectional stage. But one mantra that anybody can use, which has been recommended for thousands of years through many different Vedic texts, is what's called the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Maha means great mantra because it is the most effective mantra according to Shastra in this day and age especially, which is known as Kali Yuga. Yeah. And that is simply Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And that is another mantra that you can usually chant on beads with to keep track of how many times you're chanting it. And that is basically just the chanting the names, the most potent names of the Supreme Being in the forms of Krishna and Rama, and his energy as Hare, so that it invokes a service attitude and also energizes the consciousness so that you can perceive who and what you really are as a spiritual being, and also what is your connection with the Supreme. That is actually the goal of yoga anyway. That's why many times this is called mantra yoga. By studying or meditating on the mantra, then you connect the soul with the super soul, or the person with the Supreme Person, in that process of mantra yoga.
So you make people aware of their higher self, the purpose,
right.
Their purpose, their higher purpose.
Yeah, it's like a cleansing of the consciousness. Just like we take a bath every day. If we want to make sure we don't smell, we have to take a bath every day.
In these physical bodies, that's the way it is. Yeah.
And the same way with our consciousness. If you want to keep your consciousness from being obnoxious and obtrusive and all these other different areas that people will notice, then we use the mantras to cleanse our consciousness on a daily basis.
And that's a very good analogy.
So,
because people are so careful with the physical self, and then
how do you
sometimes
clean
forget
your inner self?
Yeah, your inner self.
This is how you do it.
Makes such a difference in starting your day.
Right. So this book, mine, has many different mantras for many different purposes, whether it's to acquire more wealth, health, less stress, whatever. They can all find this. Of course, this is available through my website, stephen-knapp.com, or through Amazon.com, and all my books are available through Amazon.com. And I have a lot more information also on the mantras, the science of mantra meditation, and things like that, also on my website.
On the website. So they can access it through that website.
Right.
And now you have an upcoming program or presentation coming?
Well, yeah, I have many different presentations throughout the country at different temples that I'm asked to appear at. And I'm also doing actually a seminar on stress management at General Motors on Friday.
We can all use that, yes.
So, and So anybody can also tune into my website and find out.
And that will have your itinerary, your schedule on.
Yeah,
so that
at least
people
some
can,
of it, so.
if they want to attend, can some of them can be attended.
Right, yeah.
So
some of them are public,
private,
some of them are not so open.
Yeah.
But, you know, things like that go on a regular basis. So I'm always pretty active in that way. And then anybody can also find my email address on my website. And if they have questions or anything like that, they can continue to find out and learn more through that process. My website gets about, amazingly enough, about 5,000 unique visitors every day.
Wow,
about
that's amazing.
20,000 hits every day.
Well,
so
people are clamoring for more spiritual insight and some spiritual healing and spiritual cleansing.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it gives me the motivation to continue doing this, to let people know how to, you know, properly get it done, what the proper knowledge is, and how to answer their questions as much as I can. So.
Now, is there a 21st book in the making?
Yeah, actually, there's another one in the making and a 22nd one in the works as well.
Oh, great.
If you want me to mention them, my 21st book will be something like Krishna deities and their miracles, which means that the Krishna deities in the temple, how they interact with devotees on a very personal level. They basically can come alive, and how that's happened many other times. The 22nd book will be a continuation of one previous book, which is Proof of Vedic Culture's Global Existence. And I've been collecting information for that book for 15 years. So it may take a while for me to sift through all that to compile this into another book on the same basis or topic of that.
That sounds like it'll be a real definitive presentation.
My first book, Proof of Vedic Culture, was a little more easygoing, storytelling kind of thing. This one is going to be much more academically oriented.
Yeah. Well, we are out of time in this first segment. And I want to thank you, Stephen Knapp, for joining us on Out of the Ordinary into the Extraordinary, because you certainly are out of the ordinary and into the extraordinary.